Recently, I had the pleasure of explaining to someone how the Force and the Jedi's spiritual practices and beliefs are basically an analog to Taoism. Actually, almost a perfect analog to Taoism. Now, this wasn't me explaining my statement to someone who was willing to engage in discussion. No, folks. This was on Twitter, the butthole of the internet. This was someone who decided to reply to my reply to someone else, where I made the claim that the spiritual practices of the Jedi and the understanding of the Force are more aligned with what is known as Taoism than Buddhism. I also said that when George Lucas mentioned Buddhism often, perhaps what he was really referring to was Taoism, but they are similar. Both share meditation practices, as well as mindfulness practices, and obviously that's not really what the definition of Taoism or Buddhism are, but yes, there are similarities 100%. Anyway, this was met with what you would expect, a fucking meltdown. So for my own amusement, here is a toy who will explain to everyone why the Force and the Jedi are analogs to the way of Taoism. Enjoy the show. Take it away.
Hi, I'm Gary. Yes, I'm a fucking toy. Today's lesson is Taoism and Star Wars. Let's begin. In Star Wars, there's an energy field called the Force. In Taoism, there's an energy field called Qi. The Force is created by living things. It binds the universe together. Taoism's Qi is the primal substance that animates the universe. It gives rise to life, and life feeds back into it. Oh, how Star Warsy. The Force has a dualistic nature, that being the light side and the dark side. Qi has two energies, that being yin or yang. Yang is positive energy, yin is negative energy. In the first drafts of Star Wars, Lucas had some interesting sounding names for the light side and the dark side, that being Ashla and Bogan. Yo, Ad.
What?
You're bullshitting me that this guy barked back at you for saying all this, right?
No. Can you fucking please continue?
Ish, relax. In Star Wars, Jedi learn the ways of the Force and how to wield its energy. In Taoism, the Junzi are followers of the Way, or the Tao. Skilled practitioners of the Tao are known to use telekinesis just like those goddamn Jedi. The Jedi have hierarchies within their order: Padawan, Jedi Knight, Master Jedi. There are hierarchies in Taoism as well for its practitioners, which are Junzi, Daojun, and Shengren. Some Jedi learn to preserve their life force so they can become Force ghosts, and in a sense continue living after death, which existentially is a little terrifying even if I am just a toy. I can't imagine wanting to live forever, to be honest, but then again, I was never born. Let's continue. The ones who achieve this immortality in Taoism are called Xianren. They become guiding spirits just like the Force ghosts are to Mark Hamill. Jedi practice multiple forms of combat. Most notable Taoists we know of are practitioners of Wu, or what we call martial arts. Oh, and both wear robes. Now, of course there were no lightsabers used by Taoists. Those are fake, just like me. But, as you can see, there are truly a ridiculous amount of parallels between Taoism and the Jedi and the Force. Now, as a toy, it's not really for me to say if Lucas misspoke or not, but I am wearing a helmet. So, I'd like to throw down some thoughts real quick before I hand this back over to Ada. George Lucas has said that a great many spiritual practices influenced his ideas for the Jedi and the Force, Eastern religions being something he often brought up, most notably that of Buddhism. But what's interesting is that Buddhism wasn't a spiritual practice until roughly 500 BCE. Confucianism came around the same time. Taoism, on the other hand, has its entire philosophy tracing back to 1600 BCE. I believe most of these other Eastern philosophies Lucas mentions, with perhaps the exception of Hinduism, are basically new adaptations of Taoism, reinterpretations of the Way. So that means if he says it's Buddhism, he isn't necessarily wrong. But to say it's absolutely not heavily analogous to what is known as the Tao is absurd. Gary out.
Well, folks, I hope that was fun and educational. Of course, I can't go over every tiny detail of Taoism or the Force, but with what my good pal Gary provided, I hope that my case has been made and that it can be officially accepted that it's possible to see the Force and the Jedi as analogs of Taoism. That's all I can hope for. Now I'm going to scream into the eternal void with Gary.